So this guy is in big trouble. And now this guy's name is Gracious David West, and he's 40 years old when this story happened. This very crazy story starts early July 2019 in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Gracious suddenly decides to not be very gracious to the women around his area. Because he decided, and you guessed it, he decided to start unaliving them. And he had a very crazy and twisted way of getting his wish done. Now, a little backstory of who Gracious David West is. David West was born in the fishing town of Buguma in Rivers State. It is an oil-producing coastal community known for its beaches. But this town actually has a history of oil militants who operated across the Niger Delta. Gracious David West actually grew up in a tough childhood state. Many claimed he was an only child born into a polygamous household, although he and his mother never stayed in the house. I guess they weren't welcome, or there weren't enough room. Who knows? During this time, his mother was allegedly poisoned and unalive. Gracious David West is then quickly introduced to a life of hustle, to a life of hardship, to a life of you are on your own, man. And with the nature of Rivers State as a very volatile state in Nigeria, Nigerians know, Gracious David West soon finds himself with the big bad boys, the BBB. He joins a street gang group that sprang out of a, militant group called the Greenlanders, or the BAM. This was a proper mafia gang with a touch of juju and a sprinkle of violence and crime. Soon, Ungracious David West became a menace to women specifically. And that's why I call him Ungracious David West the femicide. Now, this is where the story gets a bit crazy. In July 2019, Ungracious David West decides to start targeting women. And what was his measure? He would drive around town, lure them to a low-cost hotel with poor CCTV or no cameras at all, or low security, usually in the city center of Port Harcourt or at the outskirts of Port Harcourt. He would claim to be a military officer and promise these women huge amounts of cash. And he would lure them to the hotel and they would smash. I guess the women thought he was fine. When the night is dark and full of terror and these women are asleep, Ungracious David West goes to work. He will threaten these women with a knife. He would take away their ATM cards. He will then turn on the TV or the radio on to its loudest volume, tie the women to the arms of the bed. Using strips of cloth he cut from the pillowcases, he will suffocate these women until they are unalived. He did this to more than one woman, and it was as if all the victims had no relative, no person to look after them, or nobody that really cared about them. At the height of the killings, outraged citizens of Port Harcourt took to the streets in protest, calling on authorities to solve the murders. Here is a picture of the protest.
We're here to make a demand because our sisters are being killed. Yes. We're here to make a demand because only one person is the chief security officer of our state. Yes. We know that he is able to do something about it, and we have come with a petition to Government House Rivers State. We are women's groups and men's groups in Rivers State. We are people who are burdened because people are dying in our state without cause. Bro
probably thought, this is Nigeria, it will never be caught. Until one day on the 19th of September, he captured the wrong woman, who we just call wrong woman. And while he was tying her up, bam, she wakes up, and before Ungracious could do anything about it, she screamed at the top of her voice, shouting so loud, screaming out with all of her energy and all of her might. And this shout actually got the attention of people around, the security all around. And then, bam, the door is slammed open. And he manages to escape. And soon, the police began a manhunt for him. Not long, while trying to flee from Rivers State to Uyo, bam, he's arrested right there in the bus. Now, I don't have a mugshot. I don't even think in Nigeria we do mugshots. But this is a picture of him. He confessed to killing a total of 19 women, including 6 in Abia, Edo, Imo, Oyo, and Lagos State. He was sentenced to death deservedly.